agree with my honourable friend Moore. Our farms and farmers are absolutely vital to this country as providers of food, guardians of our countryside and significant contributors to the economy, and it's time the SNP Scottish Government recognise that fact.
That concludes Scotland's questions. Before we move on, may I extend a warm welcome to the Speaker of New Zealand and the House of Representatives and his delegation who are with us in the gallery today. Thank you. That helps. We now come to the final Prime Minister's questions of this term, and indeed the final Prime Minister's questions for the Right Honourable the Member for Holborn and St Pancras as Prime Minister. Can I thank the Prime Minister for his public service, his international leadership, particularly in his steadfast support for Ukraine. I am sure members will wish to join me in wishing him and his family well in the future. And let's hope this Prime Minister will be bringing home a winning England World Cup from the chest. On that note, I'm going to call Graham Stewart.
Question 1, Mr. Speaker.
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, can I thank you for your kind words? But I must start by saying I'm truly horrified by the murder of Anne Widdecombe. She was a distinguished politician with deep convictions, whose vivid and fearless character captured the public imagination. My heartfelt condolences go out to all of her friends and all of her loved ones. Mr. Speaker, it is chilling that during my time in this Parliament, 11 years, 3 serving or former MPs have been murdered. I look across at the shield for our dear friend Jo Cox and the shield for Sir David Amess that sits behind me. Mr. Speaker, I know this is a House matter, so this is my personal view. But I do believe it befitting for the House to consider a similar tribute to Anne. We thank the police for their work, and the integrity of their investigation must be protected. Mr. Speaker, you have been instrumental in defending the safety of every member of this House, and I believe we must do more to defend our democracy. I've tasked officials across government to identify the best mechanisms for taking this work forward so it can move as quickly as possible. And I hope the whole House can unite behind that in the months ahead. Mr. Speaker, let me also pay tribute to the courage of the Hillsborough families. The Hillsborough law we passed in this House last night is not only a law for them and the 97, it is a law that ensures the state serves millions of working people and always gives a voice to those who fight for justice. A law for everyone, delivered by a Labour government in the best traditions of the Labour movement. Mr. Speaker, this morning I have meetings with ministerial colleagues and others. In addition to my duties in this House, I have an important appointment with the television at 8 o'clock this evening.
May I associate myself with the Prime Minister's remarks about Anne Widdecombe? Take this opportunity to thank him for his public service and wish him and his family all the best for the future. Most of us, Mr. Speaker, can only dream of playing the role of Jude Bellingham, scoring the winning goal, leading our team to victory. Yet the Prime Minister did it. But politics, like football, is a ruthless game, and he's now been handed a red card by the 400 dodgy referees behind him. What advice, Mr. Speaker, does this Prime Minister have for the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield to ensure that he, unlike himself, doesn't end up with an early bath?
Mr. Speaker, I think that's the first and sadly probably the last time I'll be compared to Jude Bellingham. But I thank him for that. And on the question of red cards, I can't tell him how much incoming I had a week ago Monday after President Trump intervened for their red card, for me to get the England red card adjusted. Just for the record, Mr. Speaker, I didn't attempt. But for my successor and for the England team, I won't give advice. I will simply give my wholehearted support. And, Mr. Speaker, just for the record, I don't care what the score is tonight, as long as we win.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I take this opportunity to thank the Prime Minister for his many years?
Come on, Matt.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I rise for the third time. It was an honour to march with people from across Watford on a peace walk in my constituency recently, because earlier this year we saw an attack on our high street where a fire was lit at a Jewish-owned shop and sprayed with anti-Semitic graffiti. Additionally, mosques in Watford have been subject to Islamophobic attacks and intimidation. So I welcome my right honourable friend, the Prime Minister's additional support to deal with anti-Semitism and anti-religious hatred. And does he agree with me that this House must come together to stand united against those that would seek to divide us?
Prime Minister.
Well, can I thank him for his question and for his hard work? And he reminds us that an attack on one of us is an attack on all of us. Anti-Semitism and anti-Muslim hatred are a poison. We ripped anti-Semitism out of the Labour Party. And I've worked as Prime Minister to root it out of our country. And that's why just this week, Mr. Speaker, we invested a record £250 million to protect our Jewish communities. And we're using the new powers we introduced to designate the IRGC, going after those who incite violence on our street. Everyone deserves to live with security, dignity and freedom. And that is a fight that I and every Labour government and across this House will never give up on.
Kemi Bennott, the Leader of the Opposition.
Mr. Speaker, can I start by thanking the Prime Minister for the way he responded to the murder of Anne Widdecombe last week. This is the first opportunity I've had on the floor of the House to commemorate her life. A lot has been said about how she died. I want to focus on celebrating the life she lived. She was a woman of high principle, profound beliefs with a wicked sense of humour, a wonderful combination of being a serious person who did not take herself too seriously. She changed her faith from Anglican to Catholic and from the Conservative Party to the Brexit Party, but she always remained part of the Conservative family. You may not always have agreed with her, but Anne Widdecombe was a woman who said what she meant and meant what she said. Hers was an honesty that made our politics better. Her wit and forthrightness sat alongside a deep humanity and decency. She had wonderful turns of phrase. She said, we need less political correctness and more political courage. She said, if we deny our culture, become nothing and everything, that weakens us. And finally, Mr. Speaker, she also said, it is a truth universally unacknowledged at Westminster that there is life after politics. So with that in mind, I turn to this Prime Minister's final questions. And Mr. Speaker, I wanted to make sure that I got the tone right today. So I looked back at his final questions to Boris Johnson, and luckily for him, I plan to be much gentler than he was that day. Week after week, the Prime Minister and I have clashed at this dispatch box and rarely agreed on anything. But there is one thing I did admire. When President Zelensky was attacked in the White House, the Prime Minister showed leadership and invited him to Downing Street. That was the right thing to do. Ukraine is on the front line in the battle for freedom. So does the Prime Minister agree that cross-party support for their cause must endure?
Prime Minister.
Can I start by joining her in a tribute to Anne Widdecombe? I know that the hurt is keenly felt across all her friends and family, but it is particularly keenly felt by political colleagues in the Conservative Party for many years and in Reform as well. And that's why one of the first things I did on Friday was to phone the Leader of the Opposition and the Leader and Deputy Leader of Reform to express my condolences and to try to act in a cross-party manner, because I knew how much this would hurt them and their parties and many people in their party. And I thank them for taking that call in the spirit that they did last Friday. I thank her for her comments about Ukraine. We have stood united on Ukraine in this House. We supported the last government in the approach that they took, and we've taken that approach on. That meeting with President Zelensky, the day after he was evicted from the Oval Office, he left alone. He got a plane. We got him to come to London, and I asked him to come to Downing Street straight away. And I walked out to meet him. I gave him a hug, and then I showed him what was in the street, which was many people who had come thinking that he was visiting Downing Street. And the moment he got out the car and hugged me, they cheered on the top of their voices, the British people, to tell President Zelensky exactly what they thought of him and the way that he had been treated. And that was a really emotional moment, because it was the first human contact he had effectively had outside of his immediate team since he left the Oval Office. I had a meeting with him to tell him that in this country we will stand with him and Ukraine, and I didn't let him leave alone. I walked him out to his car, because we don't let people in Britain walk out of our buildings alone. We escort them out.
Can I thank the Prime Minister for that answer? And no doubt he will be disappointed that he won't be emulating his hero, Harold Wilson, in winning multiple elections. However, we all hope that he may be about to emulate him in another way, by being the Prime Minister when England win the World Cup. That is something that every single one of us in this House should get behind, especially the SNP. Mr. Speaker, as leader of the opposition, the Prime Minister led his party to a landslide after a historic defeat. I fully intend to do the same. But if you want to lead this country, you should set out your plans to do so. We have. But one politician intends to spend the summer avoiding scrutiny, refusing to set out his plans. So does he not agree that what the country deserves is a televised debate between Nigel Farage and Count Binface?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, they intend to spend the summer arguing with the bin. My advice to everyone is put your vote in the bin. Mr. Speaker, can I just say that I'm delighted today that we are joined in the gallery by some of the people I've met across the country in opposition and in power. And these are the people in the gallery today who are in my mind's eye. People like Trevor and Lewis. They worked together at JLR for over 30 years, and I visited them just before we got the deal with America, when tariffs were threatened, and I faced the entire workforce that day, who were very, very concerned that they were going to lose their jobs because the tariffs would not be possible for JLR. When we went back, when we got the deal, I took the call from President Trump at JLR in Solihull, so that they could hear the deal and they knew exactly what it would mean for them. The only mistake I made was putting it on loudspeaker, which of course is always a slightly unpredictable thing to do when you've got President Trump on the other end. But luckily he agreed the deal and the cheer went out. But these are the people across the galleries who are here with us today that are always in my mind's eye.
Ben.
Mr. Speaker, I know how much the Prime Minister has come to enjoy our exchanges. In fact, in the King's speech last month, he told me that on difficult days, my input was always a ray of sunshine. He might not have answered many of the questions I asked him, but at least he turned up. It is important to respect Parliament. So does the Prime Minister agree with me that his successor should come to this place and answer questions rather than scurrying away for the summer?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, as Prime Minister, I've participated in over 60 PMQs. Always a pleasure, always something to look forward to. And I've answered, or at least given answers, on 2,800 times. And I'm sure she will question my successor in the same way. And I'm sure she'll forgive me if I just mention one or two others who are in the gallery who have been affected by the decisions we've made, because Billy, who is sitting in the gallery in front of me, was diagnosed with breast cancer in 2023. She was there, Mr. Speaker, when we launched our plan for change, and she's been a tireless advocate for better cancer care. Billy joins us today from the Special Needs School where she works in London, and I'm pleased to tell the House that Billy's cancer is in remission.
Can I thank the Prime Minister for that answer and paying tribute to so many of the people who he has been able to help. In fact, I remember when I started this job, the Prime Minister was very helpful to me, saying that I wouldn't last the year. Life comes at you fast. He spent a long time laughing that I'd lost control of my party. I think he should have been paying attention to his backbenchers instead of mine. But everyone in politics would do well to remember how quickly political fortunes can change. I know that he has been asked and he's being diplomatic, but on that note, does he have any advice for his successor?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I will give my wholehearted support to my successor. I want this Labour government to be a success. I want our country to be a success. I shall give my support privately if asked for, not publicly when not asked for. But, Mr. Speaker, I also, if I may, wanted to draw attention to Pooja, who's with us in the gallery today with her daughter. I first met Pooja in a cafe at the back of Euston Station, and she told me about her son Ronan, who was murdered when he was 16, having just done his GCSEs. I have to say, as a father of two teenagers, I found that very hard to hear. His killer, who was also a teenager, collected a ninja sword and a machete from his local post office. He bought them online using a parent's credit card, a fake name with no ID checks. And when I heard that, I said to Pooja that I would campaign with her to get the law changed and make a commitment and a promise to her. And that's why we passed Ronan's Law, driven by Pooja's inspirational campaigning. And today I'd just like the opportunity to thank her for that.
Mr. Speaker, that is a lovely statement that the Prime Minister has just made to Pooja. I'm sure the whole House will agree. I think that the whole House will also agree that he gave a very diplomatic answer to the question I asked him on advice to his successor. And having heard it, I say this to Labour MPs with as much goodwill as I can muster. We have been where you are. Changing Prime Minister is not a silver bullet. Indeed, it may be that the Labour Party's troubles are only just beginning. Solving the fundamental problems in this country will require difficult decisions. And you also need to know how to get things done. The Prime Minister once said that when he pulled the levers, nothing happened. Why did he think that was?
Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, we did pull the levers. We pulled the levers to stabilise the economy, and we've stabilised the economy. We pulled the levers to strengthen our public services, and NHS waiting lists are coming down at the fastest rate for 17 years. We pulled a big lever on child poverty, and this government will be doing more on child poverty than any government ever, including previous Labour governments. We put the biggest investment into defence and security, and our international standing has been restored. But, Mr. Speaker, we also pulled the lever on the individual cases that matter, including individuals like Carla, who's in the gallery today. It was one of the parents that came to see me about online harm and the harm it can do to our young children, and that's why we banned social media for under-16s. And Daniel, who's also here with his son, who spoke to me many times about the struggles he's had with the cost of living and the need for a safe and secure home for every family and every child to grow up in. They're the people, Mr. Speaker, that matter more to me than anything else, because it's their lives that I think about when we make decisions in this government.
Final question, Kim.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. So for my last question, I mean, the Prime Minister may not think so now, but it is a tribute to him that not a single sitting Labour MP could beat him. Not the member for Ashton-under-Lyne, who couldn't count her taxes. Not the member for Sheffield-Heeley, who couldn't count how many phones she'd lost. And definitely not the member for Ilford North, who couldn't count to 81. This is my last exchange with the Right Honourable Gentleman, and I know how much his wife and children mean to him, and that they are in the gallery today. As everyone here knows, our families make a huge sacrifice for our choice to enter public life. So I hope he will allow me to draw our time together to a close by thanking them for the love and support they have given him throughout his time in office.
Prime Minister.
Can I thank her very much for that? It is the last question I'll face from the Leader of the Opposition. And so let me wish her well and her family. We have had robust exchanges across this dispatch box, but she has extended kindness to me privately at very difficult times, including when there was an attempt to burn down our family home, which deeply affected my family. She reached out to me. And when my brother died of cancer, she reached out to me privately, not across this dispatch box. And I thank her for that and the tribute that she's just made to my wife and children, who mean the world to me. I do thank her for that. She knows this is robust, and it has to be robust, and that's the way politics is done. But the kindnesses that sit behind it privately are often just as powerful, if not more powerful, and I thank her for that. I also stood at that dispatch box, Mr. Speaker, for 4 years as Leader of the Opposition. I know firsthand it's the most difficult job in politics, and that is what she is doing. When I did so, Mr. Speaker, we had just lost the 2019 election, which nearly broke my party. It was the worst result since 1935, and we were found to be institutionally anti-Semitic. And, Mr. Speaker, I picked up our party, I turned it round, I made a promise to rip anti-Semitism out of my party, and I did. I turned my party to face the country, and we won a landslide Labour general election. And after 2 years, we've stabilised the economy. We have invested heavily in our public services. We put better protections in for children, particularly on child poverty. We've strengthened our defence, and we've enhanced our international reputation. I'm proud to leave this country in a better shape than I found it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It is an emotional Prime Minister's question time today, and I really welcome the tone that has been struck and think we should hear more of this more often. Last year, I convened a roundtable of stakeholders in my constituency to explore joined-up solutions to tackling the scourge of violence against women and girls. And I've been really pleased over the last 2 years the Prime Minister has made that central to his government's mission. He has ensured that spiking and sexual deep fakes have been criminalised, that police forces have been mandated to have rape and sexual offences teams, and it has embedded trauma support for victims across all services. Does he agree that the government absolutely must stick to the pledge that the Labour Party put in its 2024 manifesto to halve violence against women and girls over the next decade?
Prime Minister.
Yes, I do. Can I pay tribute to her campaigning on this issue? Mr. Speaker, yesterday I was with John and Penny Clough, who I first met nearly 16 years ago. They lost their daughter to domestic violence of the most extreme sort in appalling circumstances. And in many ways, my journey campaigning on violence against women and girls started with them 16 years ago this year. I pay tribute to them and everybody else who campaigns on this. That's why we set the mission to halve violence against women and girls in a decade. Whatever role I do next, I will continue to campaign for that for as long as I've got breath in my body.
Sir Ed Davey, Leader of the Liberal Democrats.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I associate myself with so many of the Prime Minister's comments today, but particularly his remarks about Anne Widdecombe? She devoted her life to public service, and her murder was truly horrifying, and I support his campaign now for a memorial in this chamber to her. Can I also thank the Leader of the Opposition for her tribute to Anne, and to remind the whole House and the whole country that we need to remember Anne for the way she lived her life. I have to make a confession, I've always been slightly jealous of Anne for appearing on Strictly Come Dancing.
Still time.
Mr. Speaker, but can I join the whole nation, and hopefully every nation, in wishing England well against Argentina tonight, after their superb win against Norway? And it's the last job of the Prime Minister to make sure we win the World Cup. But can I also pick up on a remark from the Leader of the Opposition about the by-election we're about to see in Clacton? I have to tell her I cannot back joke figures with ridiculous policies, which is why I'm supporting Count Binface. Mr. Speaker, as the Prime Minister finds himself with more time on his hands, can I recommend the new Toy Story film? For those of you who don't know Toy Story, its main character used to be in law enforcement, but was mainly known for being a little wooden, but was replaced by a shiny new action figure from far away who thinks he can fly. And the name Andy on everyone's lips. Perhaps, Mr. Speaker, maybe the Prime Minister should give that a miss. But does he share my fear that when it comes to Britain's national debt, the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield's plan is to infinity and beyond?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, can I first? So it's a very. He's clearly angling to go on Strictly Come Dancing, and no doubt he'd be very good at it. And I've some good news for him, because he is, fittingly, the Right Honourable Member for Chessington World of Adventures. And I'm supposing he talks about the economy. I'm pleased to tell him that thanks to our summer savings, his family can save nearly £20 when they visit this summer.
Sir Ed Davey.
Mr. Speaker, can I invite the Prime Minister to join me at Chessington World of Adventures? We haven't always agreed across the floor, but can I pay my own tribute?
Yes, you have.
I've disagreed with them on Europe, and I've disagreed with you on Europe. So shall I say to the Prime Minister that although we've not always agreed, I've always admired the way he has led his party. I've always admired the way he's been a true patriot, and I always admire the way he's worked with so many people across this House to do the best for the national interest, and we thank him for his public service. And Mr. Speaker, one of the Prime Minister's qualities that people most underestimate comes from his experience as a carer. He's spoken powerfully about looking after his mother through her battle with Steele's disease, and the love and care he gave to his brother Nick. And I know the Prime Minister agrees that we can and must do more for family carers. So as he leaves number 10, will he join with me and other carers across this House to speak up for family carers, to be their voice, and to get them the support they deserve?
Yes, and can I thank him for everything he's done in relation to social care and the importance of providing care. And he does it with very real human experience that we all know and we all respect. And no doubt he will continue to champion that, as everybody should. He asked me about joining him at Chessington World of Adventures. I will. Can I suggest 12 noon on the first Wednesday in September?
Rachel Maskell.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before coming to this House, the Prime Minister and I attended the launch of my uncle's book. It was entitled Fine Lines and Distinctions. And clearly, sometimes we've had those differences, but I genuinely wish him and his family well for the future. But before he places his pen down, I understand there's a tradition to leave a note for your successor. And in wishing all honourable members the very best of summers, I ask that he asked his successor, the Right Honourable Member for Makerfield, to enact my legislation to licence short-term holiday lets and ensure that we can protect our communities from family houses turning into party houses in our residential areas and ensuring we keep those housing costs down.
Prime Minister.
I'm not sure about notes for success. I think we left one in 2010, which didn't work too well. Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that my successor will look at our private members' bill, and I'm proud to have overseen the biggest boost to renters' rights in a generation. We've kick-started the biggest boost to social and affordable house building, and wherever people live, they deserve a safe, secure home that they can call their own.
Richard Tice.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Whilst his own MPs may have sent him off without resorting to VAR, I have some good news for the Prime Minister. Yes, under his tenureship, 76% of England football matches have been won, which is the greatest, most successful record of any Prime Minister in history. So will he commit, in his remaining days in office, to carrying out whatever meetings, reviews, motivational talks to ensure his greatest legacy on Sunday is that finally football is coming home?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for this? I mean, I'm a massive football fan, so forgive me for being a nerd on this, but we've won 22 out of 29 matches since I've been Prime Minister of the England team. We have got to get that to 24 over 31, which means we will win on Sunday, and I wish the team well. And, of course, Mr. Speaker, it's only under Labour governments that we win the World Cup. And in that spirit, I'm sure the whole House will get behind the team.
Julia Butley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Watching the Prime Minister secure his legacy this week with the NATO summit and the Hillsborough Law, I wondered if he wanted to make it a hat-trick and support Shrewsbury College's bid for a new construction skills centre. As the main post-16 provider in the county, our outstanding college trains over 10,000 young people and adults, both A-levels and vocational qualifications. But this year's applications are up by 15% and our buildings are full to capacity. In a rural area like Shrewsbury, with limited alternatives, hundreds of people could end up becoming NEET. Will the Prime Minister support their third attempt to secure capital funds and meet the growing need so we can open the Construction Skills Centre in September?
You've got it, I've got it, you must.
Mr. Speaker, I know that the college in our constituency has made a bid to the Post-16 and Construction Skills Capacity Fund to expand their provision. I've also set a target for 2/3 of young people either to go to university or to a gold standard apprenticeship, because I think we need to rebalance. We rightly applaud and put on a pedestal those that go to university. We need to do the same for those that are apprentices as well, and have a bit of rebalancing.
Can we just speed up questions, because there's some people I really do want to get in to help everybody. David Chadwick. Good day.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. 2 weeks ago, the news leaked that Powys Teaching Health Board is considering taking the beds out of all but 2 community hospitals in Powys, and 2,500 people have already signed my petition against those cuts. Does the Prime Minister agree with me that taking beds out of community hospitals is not a solution for the crisis in social care, and why didn't he prioritise fixing social care when he had the opportunity?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, I would remind him that when his party was in the coalition government, they didn't do anything about social care. They simply cut all our public services, and we had to pick up the results of that. But, Mr. Speaker, I don't know the details of the particular case he refers to, but I'll make sure he gets a better answer than that in writing.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Olivia is a young constituent in Darlington. Her testimony was instrumental in securing a ban on stranger contact for under-16s. She has the letter that the Prime Minister sent her framed on her wall. Olivia and millions of young people across the country will be safer because of him. And his commitment to hear the stories of ordinary people and the injustices they have faced, and then to take action, has delivered real change. Given that social media has, for better or for worse, played such an influential role on our tenure in this House, I wondered if the Prime Minister might share with all of us any of the viral moments that have had cut through in the Starmer household.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I need to tread very carefully here. I got into a lot of trouble in a primary school when an 8-year-old encouraged me to do the 6-7 thing, and the whole class joined in. It went viral, and when I left, the head teacher told me sternly that it was against the school rules. And I have to say, I was totally pathetic. I'd simply said, I didn't start it. It must be the...
Alistair Carmichael.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Like others, I have always respected the Prime Minister as somebody who was in politics because he wanted to give service to his country, and he's earned our gratitude for that. In my constituency, those who volunteer as Coast Guard rescue officers also do so from a wish to give service to their community. So in the time that remains for him in office, will the Prime Minister ensure that the money paid to them properly reflects the respect that they earn for their service?
Prime Minister.
Can I thank him for this really important question? I start by wishing him a very happy birthday. But this is really important, and I want to pay tribute to every volunteer. They show incredible bravery, putting their lives at risk to save others. Our guiding principle is making sure we respond to this complex case by properly recognising their vital work. Ministers will continue to work with all parties, the Coast Guard Rescue Service and volunteers, to respond to their concerns and to get this right. And he's absolutely right to raise this very important issue. We'll be on it.
Lord Howe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And can I pay tribute to the Prime Minister for his steadfast leadership in the face of 2 major conflicts? My right honourable friend's efforts to successfully marshal international support for Ukraine and his work to ensure that our armed forces are not sucked into an aimless and dangerous war with Iran could prove, in fact I believe will prove, to be his most important legacy. Does the Prime Minister share my view that we must now use every diplomatic tool at our disposal, including sanctions against networks and enablers, to crack down on hostile states such as Russia and Iran?
Prime Minister.
Well, can I thank him for that? And I'm proud of the fact that we pulled together the coalition of the willing, Mr. Speaker. We did so because the usual frameworks, the UN wouldn't work to do that. The EU was blocked by Hungary, and NATO wasn't the vehicle because Ukraine is not in NATO. So we put together a coalition of the willing, led by the French and the UK, and now the Germans. I'm honoured that we're joined in the gallery by the Ukrainian ambassador today, Mr. Speaker. Let me say to him and all Ukrainians, we are united in this House against Russian aggression. That work began before I was Prime Minister. It will continue afterwards because Ukraine's security is our security. And this House is proud to stand with you.
Danny Kruger.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Can I thank the Prime Minister for his service? He is a good man, and I wish him very well for the future. But, Mr. Speaker, politics is not a joke. And every other party in this House, except Reform, has put forward as their candidate in the Clacton by-election a comedian with a dustbin on his head. Mr. Speaker, it might be, if they would listen, it might be that a man with his head full of rubbish is a fitting representative of the mainstream parties in this House. But the Prime Minister, I think the Prime Minister did endorse the bin man. But could he clarify that? If he won't put up a Labour candidate in Clacton, who does he actually want to win?
Mr. Speaker, I know that Reform believe in recycling politicians. I wonder that's if he really thought spending his summer arguing with a bin was what he had in mind when he defected to the benches up there.
That's sharp.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. This Monday will mark 10 years to the brutal rape and murder of my constituent Samia Shahid in a so-called honour killing. Can I first thank the Prime Minister for all his leadership on the agenda for ending violence against women and girls? And can he join me in reaffirming the UK's commitment to end this abhorrent killing in the name of so-called honour, not just here in England, but across the world?
Well, can I pay heartfelt tribute to her for everything she has done to campaign and draw attention to this issue, and the very powerful and personal way in which she argues it. And When she spoke in this House earlier this year, it was compelling for all of us, for all the right reasons, and I thank her for that, and I know she will continue to do so for many, many years to come, and right so, and thank her.
Alison Bennett.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I'd like to put on record my appreciation for the hard work of the Prime Minister's ministerial team in DEFRA in tackling the absolute failings of South East Water. But last Friday, 1,200 pupils at Downlands Community School in Hassocks were sent home because they had no water. For those children, for their parents, for their teachers, it was another reminder of South East Water letting communities down. I'm sure the Prime Minister would agree that something as basic as turning on the tap should never be in doubt. So, before new housing developments are approved, does he agree that water companies should be compelled to confirm that they have the capacity to provide a reliable water supply to those new homes?
Yeah. Well, this incident is completely unacceptable, and every customer deserves reliable, resilient services, particularly during extreme heat where there's a risk to public health. The Water Minister has met the company's leadership to demand improvements and will follow up in that way.
Whereas, Mr. Speaker, even GB News is now admitting that with small boat crossings down more than 40% this year, the Prime Minister's strategy to smash the trafficking gangs is working. With the costly fiasco of the Conservatives' Rwanda scheme long behind us and our relationship with our nearest neighbours and friends in France rebuilt, does the Prime Minister think that now is the time to establish a safe and legal route between Planet Sigma 9 and Clacton?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I am pleased that net migration is down 82%. Small boat crossings are down 40%. The asylum backlog is down. We're closing asylum hotels, and we deported 70,000 people with no right to be here. That's what this government's delivering.
Mr. Speaker, books are going to be written about how a mayor of Manchester has managed to outmanoeuvre a sitting Prime Minister with a 170-seat majority and take the keys to number 10. The Prime Minister appears to have been brought down by an inability to articulate a plan for government. So it must be tough, Mr. Speaker, it must be tough to be replaced by a man who refuses to say whether he's even got a plan. So as the Prime Minister bows out, done in by his honourable friends, does he argue with me, does he agree with me that in a few months' time we'll all be missing him?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, the economy has been stabilised. We've got stronger public services. 500,000 children are being lifted out of poverty. We've got biggest investment in defence and security since the 1980s, and our international standing has been restored. That's not just a plan; it's a plan being delivered.
Can I congratulate the Prime Minister yesterday on being recipient of a Légion d'honneur medal, and also on the Public Office Accountability Bill? Would he agree with me that all those scandals that will never happen again because of this, I include Grenfell and Windrush, sometimes the media have twisted the knife a bit and made the pain harder for the victims' families. So could he not revisit some of these same principles, accountability and justice, for the gutter press?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'm very proud that we delivered the Hillsborough Law yesterday, and it is important to recognise there's always been an initial injustice and then a further injustice otherwise after it when the state doesn't acknowledge and get to the truth. We're putting that right with the Hillsborough Law.
Morgan.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. After 16 years of Conservative administration, Shropshire Council's finances were left in a disastrous state. Now, after an LGA peer review praised the Lib Dem administration for making significant strides since last May, that difficult financial situation remains. The Right Honourable Member for Makerfield has promised Manchesterism for the rest of the country, but will the Prime Minister join me in urging him to remember that the rest of the country doesn't all look like Manchester and rural areas need a fair deal too?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, she's right to raise rural areas, and that's why we put record investment into our local authorities and into our NHS across the country, including in Shropshire.
Joanna Baxter.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. My constituent and Scottish football superfan, Craig Ferguson, has just returned home after working for 108 days across 3,000 miles in the United States to raise funds for Scottish Action for Mental Health. He's raised over £1 million. I know this is an issue issue the Prime Minister cares very deeply about, can I thank him for his leadership? And will he join me in congratulating Craig and everyone who supported his actions to raise money for mental health?
Well, can I join her and praise and pay tribute to Craig? I believe there's a famous Scottish song about walking 500 miles and then another 500, but to surpass that is an amazing achievement. We all pay tribute.
Foster.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. We've all enjoyed watching England's success in the World Cup in the last few weeks. As his last act as Prime Minister before he leaves office, will he agree to grant us a bank holiday so we can celebrate England's win?
Prime Minister.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I've been careful not to tempt fate and jinx the result, and I'm a passionate Arsenal and England supporter, and I've watched many games, agonising moments. But, Mr. Speaker, on the question of a bank holiday, he should ask me again on Sunday.
Mr. Speaker, second time. The Prime Minister won't need reminding about. The Prime Minister won't need reminding about Arsenal's success in the Premier League last season, and my right honourable friend, the member for Makerfield, won't want reminding that Everton, unfortunately for him, came 13th. But what neither of my right honourable friends may know is the UK finished 20th in the Corruption Perceptions Index, well within the relegation zone. At the Prime Minister's request, last week, the Ethics and Integrity Commission produced a comprehensive set of recommendations to tighten up rules around lobbying. In light of recent stories around the leader of Reform UK, does he agree with me that these recommendations should have been...
Well, can I pay tribute to the Commission and their work? The work of strengthening our democracy will and must continue.
Susan Berry.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And I would like to wish the Prime Minister well in what he does next. The future of communities like mine in Mid-Dumbartonshire is uncertain, where hyperscale data centres are set to be built. These large data centres in Scotland's planning system could demand more power than the whole of Scotland needs at its winter peak. Can the Prime Minister assure my constituents they won't find they're fighting for electricity during the cold winter days?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, it's very important that we have all the resources we need to provide the energy we need and to bring the price of energy down, and that is what we're doing.
Right, final question, Caroline Harris.
Oh, I can do this. Can I thank my right honourable and very dear friend for everything he's given to our party and our country. There were few who believed we could make the changes needed to bring in a Labour government after the general election of 2019 when he became leader. But today, because of his service and his leadership, children are growing up in a fairer Britain. We stand tall on the world stage, and every day we've seen his decency and his courage shine through. Can I thank him and his wonderful family on behalf of me and my family for their cherished friendship, and I am certain everyone will join me in wishing him and his family the very, very best for their next chapter.
Well, can I thank my honourable friend for her question, for her support and friendship, to me, to Vic and to the kids. Whatever the challenge, she has always been there for us, particularly Vic and the kids, and I really thank her for that. Mr. Speaker, this will be my last answer from this dispatch box. Every Prime Minister knows when they take up the torch that the day will come when they have to pass it on. That day has come for me. This is the end of my political journey. In 6 years, went from historic defeat in 2019 to historic victory in 2024. And in 2 years in government, I leave the country in better shape than I found it. I am proud of everything that we have achieved. Mr. Speaker, can I just take time to say to you, Mr. Speaker, and all those who work for the House and in our constituency offices, thank you for all your hard work. To our civil service, thank you also for all your hard work. To my political team, many of them here today, who came on this journey with me, thank you so much for everything you have done and being prepared to walk through fire for me. To my Colleagues on these benches, I am proud of all we have achieved together and proud of each and every one of you. To my successor and each of you, I will give my full support. To all colleagues across the House, can I wish you good health and happiness. To all those in the gallery whose lives have been changed or improved by this Labour government, and all across the country who struggle to be seen or heard, you're the reason I came into politics. To my wife and children, I love you. Goodbye.
Can I just say, as the curtain has fallen, this House quite rightly cheers out the Prime Minister. I'm sorry we're still clapping. We don't do clapping in the House. We cheer. We hold our order papers up. That is the farewell that we should always give to a Prime Minister. We now come to the next stage if the front benches change over.
Okay, so just quickly while they're changing over, thank you again for everyone watching. I will be doing a watch-along stream tonight for the game. And don't forget, if you can't make that, tomorrow morning, 10 a.m, questions with Sadiq Khan. I'll keep this running for a little bit longer, not for too long. So tonight, 7:30, I think I'm live to do a watch-along for the England game. Tomorrow morning, 10 a.m, Lord Mayor of London's questions with Sadiq Khan, okay? Thank you very much, everyone who's watched. Please hit the like button, make sure you're subscribed, all that jazz. Much appreciated. And we'll carry on, and hopefully we'll see you all soon.
Right, we now come to the urgent question. Show Secretary of State, Claire Keating.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Control room operators at